How to be attractive. So how can we be an attractive person, guys? How can we be someone that others want to be around? How can we be someone that attracts good energy? How can we be that person that truly is the force multiplier within our groups and within all the things that we do? How do we do that? Oftentimes, what I hear is a lot of ways in which you can do this to improve this certain personality or this certain thing or this certain quip that you may have. However, I don't hear about this. There's a skill to being likable, guys. I mean, that's the reality. There is a skill. There's also just a natural element about it. However, there is a part that is due to skill that we can directly work on. All right, so how do we do that? First, we must lay out what an attractive person inherently is. So, an attractive person is someone that you wish to be around. That when you hear this person's name spoken, you say, yeah, I want to hang out. If they're going to be there, I want to be there. That you know, okay, around this person, I can relax. I don't have to be on my toes or my heels. It's another thing. Another one would be, hey, this is a person that I know isn't going to be a buzzkill or a pessimist, so to speak. Someone that is going to amplify the energy that we already have. That would be another way that we look at it. Okay. And what would be, let's say, the final element here? This would be someone that we know that if we have other people around, the other people are going to enjoy their company as well. Perfect. And those are just the foundational roots. We can go down the line and look piece by piece, but those are the basic things that we need for now. Okay. So how do we focus in on these things in these areas? Well, firstly, you need to make sure that you have these feelings about these things in your own life. So you enjoy being with yourself. That's a big key. Do you enjoy being with yourself is the first element here. Because if we do not enjoy being with ourselves, how could other people enjoy being with us? So that's the first key. And to enjoy being with yourself, you have to be with yourself alone. No phone, no other people. Don't speak to other people like that. Just be alone. You don't have to completely isolate yourself from society. It's just every moment that you have where you could possibly be alone, let's say in your room at night or in the morning, just sit there. Let whatever needs to happen, happen. Don't run away from a thought or feeling, let it occur. That's how you know who you are. And that's how you build that muscle. So that's a vital key there. All right, so after we have that, and you're good at being with yourself, that's the first key needed for others to be with you. Then we tackle the aspect of how do you play with others? Because are you someone who you find yourself in constant quips and quarrels with people around you? Because if that is the case, it's likely to occur with, other people as well, if that's already the case. And then you need to say, well, why do I have that with these people? Why? What is it that causes it? Because it's not that you're a bad person. We all have our different things. We can be hostile, aggressive, whatever it may be in certain periods. However, that shouldn't be your permanent state or your general state unless you're an actual fighter. So what is it? What is it with this person or this interaction? What caused me to have this falling out? And you say, well, they said this comment or had this opinion, and I severely disagreed with it. And due to that, disagreement, and ultimately I identified with what they were disagreeing with. So when I did disagree with it, it brought up more emotion and thing in me that made it a bigger deal than it needed to. And in reality, it was framed as it was the person being the problem, when it was never the person, but rather their viewpoint on the matter. And so then you say, okay, so that's a key. Because I know that we're humans and we're inherently flawed. So I'm not going to look at someone and say, wow, you're trash. No, it's not you. It can be a viewpoint that you have, and it's what you represent in the moment. But it's not you, your soul, your being. No, it's an opinion, an action that we have. And once you have that, you unlock that key and you can say, well, man, it was never really the person. And when that's at play, you have a closer relationship with your fellow human and fellow man because you know it's not them. And that's going to resonate because you have a, let's say, a healthy soft spot. Not one where people take advantage of you, but rather one where people can confide and trust in you. And ultimately, who doesn't like people that they can trust or they can confide in? Few rare exceptions. Okay, so we have that down. All right. So after we have that down, what would be our following step? Our following step would be, how do you make others feel? At least what is under your control, because you cannot literally control them. And if you look and you say, well, other people around me, they've told me that, man, I'm kind of a buzzkill, or that I'm kind of a pessimist, or that people don't like to tell me things because I get super defensive and personalize against them. Well, okay. Because in things there are truth. Not always is it true with these things. You may have a falling out due to some exception or something, or the person may really not like you and may tell you something that they may not be true. However, that is an exception. But in this case, if that's occurring, you say, okay, well, interesting. I guess I am a bit of a pessimist. How would I change that? And then you say, well, in being a pessimist, why am I a pessimist, for one? That's not our general state. So why am I a pessimist? And you look back and you say, okay, at this point in this event in my life, that caused me to start looking at things in this manner. Okay. And so that was the case, that due to this thing that occurred in my life that started me to look at things in this way. And now that you're aware of it, you're no longer a victim to it. And it can be let go. And you say, well, this was the thing. And just reframe how you view that thing. Instead of looking at being poor or being the victim of some form of abuse and saying that, oh, it's because I was weak, you say, no, it's because I was incredibly strong. And I'm stronger from the event. Not weaker from it, but rather I become stronger from it. And just small things like that, because those are fundamental core truths. And your conscious thinking is framed on your subconscious fundamental core truths. So once you have these things in line, everything else will follow suit. Your mindset will completely change. Because also, as you change from that pessimist mindset and that victim mentality, it's a butterfly effect. So now all the small, subtle conscious thinking and conscious thoughts that you had are being swapped for those that follow suit of an optimistic mentality. So, yeah. And when that's the case, who you are internally is what gets expressed externally to the world. That's why if you're someone who is likable, however, it's a fake likableness. Let's say you can put it on, or you put it on, However, when you're alone, you're not the same person. It's just a matter of time until that catches up to you. And even if it never did, your life within yourself is going to always be the one that gets the consequences of it. And is that really what you want? A life in where the only person that has no real joy or prolonged contentment is your own? What would be the point? So yeah, that would be the key there. We're going really deep with this one, guys. And yeah. So, all right. So we have that sorted. Now our mentality has changed. So now people have a different feeling when they are around us. Okay. Nice. All right. And here's another part. How are we with other people? Are we inviting, or are we